Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you. With your permission, I will keep the social distancing, but I think for sake of progress, Director of Ceremony, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I would prefer to speak without the mask. Esteemed Executive Director of the Judiciary, Ms. Rolanda van Wyk, the Director of Education, Mr. Ndafanongo, who just introduced me, Mr. Dux, our Inspector of Education, Pastor Badenhorst, who gave a powerful, sincere, and very godly message, as well as our host, Mr. Brits. Thank you, sir. All the heads of departments, also the chairperson of the board, Ms. Solomon, and school board members, our esteemed parents, ons ouers, the caregivers, the guardians, and then, of course, the true focus of the day, our grade 12 trendsetters. Members of the media, goeiemiddag, good afternoon. When we entered, Ms. Rolanda, the Executive Director from Judiciary, she was asking Mr. Brits, why did this not happen the time when she was a learner here? This is truly delighting that we could join you today, and we sincerely thank the organizers for inviting us, extending an invitation to us to spend this very historic and beautiful moment that will be forever embedded in our minds. Thank you for allowing our parents and ourselves to be with you. We are here to celebrate the very first and historic graduation ceremony where we acknowledge and say goodbye to our grade 12s after the many years of studying and what seems to be a very endless years bidding farewell to formal schooling. And indeed, what an amazing journey. I know Edie, and that's how we call each other, Edie van Wyk, was very nostalgic about her own journey and coming back as an alumni to Dr. Lemmer today. Now, I must tell you this, and this can't be said in English, Mr. Ndafanongo. When we walked in here, ek het sommer skoon hoendervleis gekry. You know, goosebumps in English is not the same as hoendervleis. I think, you know, it's just the way it is, and I still get it when I look at all of you, and I look at the effort and the time and the energy that went into every stitch towards producing this beautiful attire. And as our young journalists have said earlier, this is so much more purposeful and meaningful. Although the grade 12 brings its own glamour to it, isn't it? But this is very, very special indeed. When a colleague at work actually gets upset with a fellow staff member and she gets fed up with the reasoning of a person, she would firmly end the argument by saying, ek weet nie waar het jy jou matriek gemaak nie, maar ek het myne by Dr. Lemmer gemaak. En in daai statement, daai boodskap, is daar 'n verborge en 'n versteekte boodskap wat nog daar is, wat ons eintlik moet analiseer. And that statement is filled with unsaid things about the school, Dr. Lemmer. It says a lot about the influence of the teachers and the personal development of the learners, of you embracing a culture filled with promise, with pride, and with optimism, Dr. Lemmer. The development of potential and empowering others to realize success and satisfaction in life, to craft a purposeful future. That's Dr. Lemmer. Instilling a vision of hope and possibility, and still after 71 years in Rehoboth, it still serves as a beacon of hope. a beacon of light, and raising as a collective the expectations of the community and the people of Rehoboth and beyond to improve performance, not just academic, but also the values of motivating, empowering, and indeed, with the help of parents and community, promote the potential while creating high achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Dr. Lemmer to you. Can you give a round of applause? I will just have a few more points to talk through. Seeing that you are on the verge of a very critical milestone in your life, that of completing grade 12, I wish to very briefly talk about, the exams. It's a start, it moves into the other points. And it's important to ask ourselves that inquiry that Mr. Brits talked about. Did we carefully sit and plan and envisage our vision as we sit here as a person and a matriculant or a matric learner? What is it that we want to do? And there is no chance of being complacent, and we shouldn't be too easily satisfied. I'm from a small town in Karasburg, the far south, and I'm fully aware of the various difficult conditions our learners attend school from. But we must know that you must make a promise to yourself, not to anybody else, that you will do what it takes in terms of doing the right thing to achieve what you set out to achieve. And it will start with the exams. That's where it will start. So a person without a vision, there's no way. Doesn't matter. When you set a goal for 7 years and it takes you 10 years to achieve it, you should still be proud of yourself. If you set out 4 years to achieve it, you should still be proud of yourself. If getting a learner's meant 6 months for you, a learner's license, and it takes you a year and a half and boxes of chocolates of chips, then you do it. Do what you have to do. No matter how bad lives look at the moment, we must not be self-restraining and must not despair and speak of doubt and disbelief of your goals and of yourself. It starts with the exams. So let's keep in mind that a person without a vision can be compared to driving in a strange town without a road map. You are going to wind up somewhere and it just might not be the best part of town. Verdwaal julle ook in Rehoboth. Do you know that when I travel with my husband, and I would want, in his driving, and I would want him to stop and ask the woman or the man walking there to stop and ask, where is this in this place? He doesn't want to do that. He wants to find the place himself. Why? Why? Why do we do that to ourselves? So let us know where we are going and how we want to get there. Seeing that you are no longer children, Mr. Britt said it so well, you are graduating into adulthood. Whether it's an immediate job after matric, whether it's taking a gap year if you can afford it, whether it's going straight to NASFAF, getting a bursary and study or a loan, whether it's to go straight into farming, whatever it is you want to do, you must realize that you are no longer children. You may still be in the house of your mother and your father, and there are rules to comply with. However, you are entering adult life where it's critical for you to reflect and be reflective of the things you do, the decisions you carry out, and the actions that you are taking. I want that really to rest on your heart today. Albert Ellis said so well, the best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, are the president, you realize that you control your own destiny. We should move away from the culture of complaining, of complacency, and of blaming. Ons moet die hand diep in eie boesem steek and reflect. I want us to know that as grade 12s, we must be able, after grade 12s, while entering the adulthood, we must know that we need to use mistakes to build a bright future. I'm standing in front of you today because I made many mistakes, but I corrected them. I used the mistakes, and one of our beliefs in the Ministry of Education is that we must excel in everything that we do, and that we will not be fearful of making mistakes in pursuit of excellence. Now, in fact, mistakes should not be made in the first place. But if they do happen, it's critical that they are corrected. And we all make mistakes, whether it's on a personal level, whether it's on a professional level. But the important thing is that you must learn from your own mistakes, but also the mistakes that are made in our families, among our friends, and our acquaintances, and those in the community. We must learn from those mistakes because we are part of a community. I'm imploring you, ladies and gentlemen, to not complicate your life with pregnancies, with alcohol abuse, and with drug abuse. You will enter a tunnel that will be very difficult to get out of with. If you do get pregnant, take good care of yourself and don't let go of what you set out to do in life. It's imperative that you honor the house from where you will step out every day until you have a key to open up your own little flat or your own house. Keep that in mind. Let's create a personal code to live by. If there's any one thing that is evidenced by your daily choices, it's your character. Mr. Brits, it's like you knew what we were going to say, and none of us saw each other's speeches. It just tells you that we live in a society where we need to go back to being old school, being honest, being sincere, and build character. I cannot agree more with Thomas Macaulay, who said, the measure of a man's real character is what he would do if he knew he would never be found out. And that is the value that Mr. Brits talked about. Impeccable integrity. And integrity, ladies and gentlemen, sitting in front of me, is a word that these days have been used way too loosely. Integrity is taking a principled stance to do what is right, what is fair, and what is just, no matter how difficult it is. You do not compromise on your integrity. Idi Rolanda and myself, the school board, the principal, the HOD, they know what it is like working with money. But you know, I say the only thing I have is the honor to have my husband's surname as Steenkamp. And I can't break down my reputation by doing anything against my character or integrity to bring dishonor to the name I took on before God. And integrity is something that we practice every single day. En elke dag vra jy vir God en jy sê vir God, daar sit sy sal getuig. As ons werk toe ry, dan bid ons. Dan sê ons, Here, vir vandag vra ek u seën, u genade, u goedheid en u guns. Lei my in al die besluite wat ons moet neem. Wees met ons dat ons die regte ding doen. On a daily basis. Because if you don't, you know, my daughter said, Ma, you should ask God for grace every single day. Because the grace He gave you yesterday, you have used it all up. So môre is nog 'n dag, en môre kniel ons weer en ons vra weer, Here, seën my. Jabes gebed. Honesty and honorable when people are watching. But being true to yourself is tantamount. Whether we are teachers, parents with our own careers, or young men and women entering the adult world, it is critical that we live with integrity every day. The date decisions that we take, the private decisions, whether to stay within your limit of 1 beer or 2 glasses of wine, whether it is to choose not to drink and then drive. It's a choice. To behave in a decent manner, or to study hard and make sacrifices. To be assertive. And we must teach our children that when you walk, you pick up your feet and your head is high, and you make eye contact and you speak with authority and respect and assertiveness, because jy het niks om voor terug te staan nie. You are worthy. Every one of you, you are worthy. Let us live and lead and live a life of excellence and integrity. Let's strive towards living and working towards a purpose and with passion. I want to shorten this to say another thing that we must remember, ladies and gentlemen, is that we should never forget our roots. What is it that we can embrace today? That we can say, that's my culture, that's my heritage, that's my family's value, that's my family's firm belief, that is my family tradition. Whether it's a special recipe that you share, whether it is specific traditions that you follow, what is it that we can look back on and talk about? Joel Austin said that nothing that our parents did or didn't do can hold us back. I said earlier, I'm from a small town in Karasburg. I know what it is like to grow up in difficult conditions. It may slow us down a little bit, but ultimately we can reach our goals. And therefore social problems and personal living conditions such as alcoholism in our families, we must speak truth to power. Dysfunctional families or poverty, health issues, be it mental health, HIV, AIDS, or COVID-19, stigma or discrimination, bullying, which is so prevalent and systemic in our schools, name calling, that should not deter us from being and becoming achievers. Some people believe that they are cursed, that they will remain poor and jobless, or that they become alcoholics because it's in their families. However, we should remember always that before anybody can put a curse on you, God has already put a blessing on you. Sounds like I'm a pastor today. God has already put a blessing on you. Don't you forget it. You've made it this far. You are blessed with talent, hidden talent maybe. You are blessed with creativity. with a hidden potential still to be discovered. And we've seen what a tenacious and resilient people we are with COVID-19. We resiliently overcome. We stand up and we shake off anxiety and fear, be it for the exams, and we move on, putting our hearts in that. God will not withhold any one of us from wisdom, creativity, the right connection at the right time, of joy, of victory. It's imperative, ladies and gentlemen, beautifully as you are sitting in front of me and handsome, that you surround yourself with positive people. You will soon learn the influence that others have on you. If you are around people who are always complaining, who are always discouraging, who are always negative, who are downhearted, their low spirits can bring you down too. In your striving to be the best and truthful to yourself, you should be careful what you search on social media, on Google, Chrome, on the internet. You should be careful what you read, what you listen to, and whom you talk to. It's unfortunately so that worry, fear, and discouragement are contagious, and therefore we should always lift our spirits and draw strength from each other. Some people are part of your history. One principal told me, she said, Miss Sanet, some people are just part of your history. They shouldn't be part of your destiny. Shake them off. All this negative energy. Al hierdie negatiewe energie, mense wat jou drain, skud hulle af. Move away from people telling you that you will never make it. You should not fall in the trap of believing that it is true. I want you to choose faith over fear. Faith in God and faith in yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm speaking on behalf of our dear parents when I say that we're all extremely proud of you. And I do wish to acknowledge that a lot of planning and organizing went into this special event. And I want us to appreciate it, and I want us to appreciate each other. And I now want you to turn to listen very attentively, because I will be a teacher again. I'll give an instruction only once, so you must listen very carefully. Do we have a deal? Do we have a deal? I don't see any hands. Do we have a deal? We have a deal. Okay, this is the instruction. Turn to the person on your left, make eye contact, and say, we have made it this far. I appreciate you. The person on your left, you can also turn to the person on your right. We have made it this far. I appreciate you. Turn to the person on your right then, to the person at your back or in front of you. Let there be chaos. It's a joyous day. We have made it thus far. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I congratulate and appreciate you for making it to this moment. I wish to thank all the teachers, and I want all the principal, head of department, and the teachers in this room to please stand up for an ovation, standing ovation by the class of 2020 matric. Will you please rise and give them an ovation, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Woo! Beautiful. May you be seated. Let's practice now the way we do it when a deaf person and when you would celebrate with a deaf person. Shall we do it that way? Isn't that beautiful? Prachtig. Thank you. Now, I wish to thank our teachers who brought you this far by investing and committing in terms of time, energy, generosity of sharing their skills and wisdom, their humor. What would our lives be without a teacher? Wat ons laat lag. En soms ook bietjie laat huil. A teacher allowing us to create opportunities and opening doors of connections and networks. Years later, you will think back of the teachers you have and you will so miss them. So now is the time to appreciate them. Shall we give them a round of applause? Wie die eksamen gedryp? Wie daarna geklap? Uit die klas uit? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like our parents, our caregivers, our guardians to please stand up. And I want our graduates to stand up and turn to the parents and give them a standing ovation. Thank you. Parents may please keep standing. Dear parents, dear guardians, dear caregivers, sometimes we don't say thank you enough in education. Sometimes we just keep on expecting that you must have and that you must give. We just want and we just want. And sometimes we don't have full understanding for what you are also going through and the sacrifices that you make. Today I want to look you in the eye and say thank you. Thank you for believing in these children here. They may be born by you, but they may also not be born by you. But that's not important. What you did was to embrace them and support them and love them and care for them. Sommige van ons ouers loop langs hulle se skoene sodat die kinders die beste kan hê. And may you remember, ladies and gentlemen, the day that you start working is the day that you pay back in kind, not black tax, that you pay back in kind and you take care of those who take care of you. Thank you, dear parents, for your investment of faith and love and for your support all the way. Can we give them a deaf ovation? Thank you very, very much. You may please be seated. Dear grade 12s, you are truly the cream of your communities. You are part of history, of a rich culture, not just of Rehoboth, but also beyond, and our hopes are on you. The director there, when he opens up the results and he goes through, he must remember this day at Dr. Lemmer, because the day will prove to him that you have given your all. Your good is not good enough and the best anymore. You must do great. Good is not good enough. Your best is not good enough unless you have given your all and unless you've given the greatest. A big shout out. Can we, the parents and the teachers, please give a standing ovation to class of 2020, ladies and gentlemen, for the sheer dedication to achieve success and satisfaction in your end of year exams and for starting a new chapter in your life. May you remember that nothing worth is ever easy, and therefore difficult work may be expected, but with the support of your teachers and your parents and with their guidance to guide you, Congratulations. We applaud you. To the class of 2020, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Director of Ceremonies.